Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
It is Wednesday, the 27th day of September 2023. Welcome to Primetime News right here on KUTV. It is a day when the giant search engine Google is celebrating 25 years of its existence since its launch in 1998. And reliable sources say Google is an idea that came from two students who were brainstorming in a dormitory at Stanford University. Aside from this, we have a lot lined up for you tonight, including this. National Assembly stops implementation of report by Presidential Working Party on education reforms. Gachagua says tea sector has witnessed 2.28% annual growth in the last 1 year. Senators claim primary health bill contravenes devolution. And Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania jointly win bid to host 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. Kutv Mwangeli is a sign language interpreter. My name is Joseph Kess. Remember, we are also live on YouTube at KUTV Kenya, and you can share with us your feedback on X, formerly Twitter, at KUTV_Kenya and at Kess Joseph Kenya. Now, members of the National Assembly have suspended the implementation of the recommendations by the Presidential Working Party on education reforms. According to a statement by the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, it is unlawful for the recommendations to be implemented without Parliament's approval. The National Assembly also cites lack of public participation in the formulation of the radical changes. Joseph Oyomo reports.
A few weeks after President William Ruto received a comprehensive report from the Presidential Working Party on education reforms, the recommendations have fallen through the cracks following the Parliament's block. MPs have brought the reform to a halt until necessary procedure is taken to have the recommendations passed through the Parliament in line with the Constitution.
And nobody, and I repeat, nobody, no minister of government can purport to make law or do things that appear to be interpreted that they have made law, because they have no capacity to make any law.
The matter was brought before the Parliament by Emuhaya MP, who doubles up as corporate chairman Omboko Milemba, who also revealed that the recommendations have since caused a rift among stakeholders in the education sector, including the Minister of Education, the Teacher Service Commissions, and Union.
Honorable Speaker, the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform has also recommended that the Minister of Education establishes a comprehensive school system where all levels of learning are managed as one institution, contrary to Part 2.9 of the fourth schedule of the Constitution. The Working Party further recommends that the Minister of Education recruit staff for special needs education institutions and hard staff areas. This recommendation will be contrary to the Constitution.
Following the submission of the fresh educational proposals, the government issued a number of orders, including the relocation of junior secondary schools into existing primary stations and the hiring of 30,000 new instructors. The team suggested the lowering of entry grades from C+ to C+, as well as the increment of university tuition fee from 16,000 to 52,000 Kenya shillings.
Mr. Speaker, I say that because I'm aware that not only is it a policy document that has not crystallized into law under Article 95, but they have purported to appoint an implementation committee which is implementing it already, which means it's not even considered that it's necessary to see whether Parliament will adopt its recommendations into law.
It also suggested waiving of university debts owing to statutory entities and increase in state financing to correspond with the enrollment numbers as a way to rescue universities from the current financial stalemate. Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah resolved to consult with the Education Ministry on the matter and report back to Parliament. Joseph Oyomo, KUTV.
And the Committee on Delegated Legislation today presented a motion before Parliament on consideration of universities regulation. According to the committee chairperson, Samuel Chepkonga, the Ministry of Education did not produce a regulatory impact statement to the committee before implementation. Legislators have therefore called on the government to involve Parliament before coming up with any changes. Sylvia Nyango reports.
Samuel Chepkonga, chairperson of the Committee on Delegated Legislation, tabled a motion in Parliament on consideration of University Regulation 2023. In his statement, the regulation being implemented did not go through public participation, and according to Chepkonga, the National Assembly should be left to do their role in approving any regulation.
And so therefore we are recommending to this House that these regulations be annulled in its entirety, and that the statutory making body makes the necessary amendments and brings back those regulations. It is not for them to imagine that because we have annulled these regulations, they are going to sit on them. We are going to call for these regulations because it is affecting the students, it's affecting the parents, the guardians, affecting the university employees. So those regulations must be brought to the House.
In support of Chepkonga's statement, Rorieda MP Otiende Amolo called on the education sector to involve the August House before implementation of the regulations. Some of the regulations that will be reviewed include the higher education funding model, with the MP stating that a review on the same should be done.
It must be said that however good intentioned one is, it is not sufficient to consult some people outside or even those in the executive or the judiciary or any other arm of government and assume that you can overlook Parliament.
According to Dagoretti South MP John Kiare, a review in the way university courses are offered in terms of professionalism and availability of jobs should be done. Kiare further pleaded with universities and TVETs to ensure that training is done according to opportunities available.
We ought to start thinking about our technical secondary schools, our technical universities, our technical polytechnics, Madam Speaker, so that every learner that goes through high school should not be willing to just take up a professional course in the name of a degree. The degrees that we have produced in this country, Madam Speaker, have become a burden on the carriers of these degrees.
The MPs also stated that the Ministry of Education should not implement any regulations since some are not in line with the Constitution and may negatively impact stakeholders within universities.
The future of education in this country depends solely on the decisions that we shall make as a country and specifically those in charge of education. Madam Speaker, the education sector right now as it is in a lot of problems.
The regulations will be reviewed by the members of Parliament before progressing with any implementation. Anyango Sylvia, KUTV.
And the Kenyan tea sector has recorded an annual growth of about 2.28% over the past 1 year. This is according to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who was speaking in Karen, Nairobi, during a meeting held to announce end-of-year bonus payments to smallholder tea farmers under the Kenya Tea Development Agency, that is KTDA Holdings. It has also been revealed that the tea sector has recorded a turnover of 95.3 billion Kenyan shillings, a situation attributed to reforms recently made in the sector.
The Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has lauded improvements made in the tea sector over the past 1 year following reforms he has been spearheading. The sub-sector has recorded a 95.3 billion Kenyan shillings turnover over the past 1 year, as opposed to 93.02 billion Kenyan shillings made in the previous year, reflecting a growth of 2.28%.
KDDA factories recorded a turnover of 95.3 billion Kenyan shillings in 2023 compared to 93.02 billion last year. This is an increment of over 2.3 billion Kenya shillings.
Gachagua, who was speaking during the announcement of the final end-of-year bonus payment to smallholder tea farmers under KTDA at Karen, Nairobi, remarked that the increase is a result of directly involving farmers and stakeholders in matters relating to tea industry.
The players in the tea industry have embraced the reforms, and there has been no resistance. And this is the fruit of embracing reforms in our tea subsector.
Gachagua was, however, quick to note that the tea sector still holds a lot of untapped potential, as he says that the government is putting efforts in tapping more international markets for the Kenyan produce.
The performances of our ambassadors and high commissioners will be pegged on the delivery of this assignment of expanding existing markets and opening up new markets in the world.
In regards to the challenges facing the sector, including the issue of tea poaching, the DP plans to convene a meeting with the tea sector shareholders, DCI and other stakeholders to raise and address concerns affecting the subsector.
Mambo ya poaching ya chai, hawking of tea. We are going to support you. We are going to support you 100%.
Former and present directors of KTDA are urged to hold peace talks in order to facilitate the growth of the tea subsector and aid farmers' income. Yvonne Kemuma, KU TV.
And the Senate has today conducted the second reading of the Primary Health Care Bill, a sitting that took place in the Turkana County Assembly. In what seemed like a unanimous agreement, the senators singled out two clauses which they cited direct contradiction of the mandate of devolution. However, they also agreed that the bill will be a game changer in the health sector. Take a look.
In the first ever Mashinani Senate sitting, the members of the Senate today held the second reading of the Primary Healthcare Bill, one of the bills proposed in a bid to fulfill Kenya Kwanza's promise of universal healthcare for Kenyans. During the sitting, the senators seemed to agree that the bill will be a game changer in the health sector, except for two clauses that raise temperatures in the House. According to Clause 13 and 14 of the bill, the Ministry of Health will manage the primary health care, while the Cabinet Secretary for Health will be given the mandate to appoint an advisory committee for primary health care. These clauses did not sit well with the members of the Senate, as most of them claimed it's against the Constitution and the aim of devolution.
County have the delegated responsibility for health. And we must not give the national government excuses by law through this Senate to withhold funds that are supposed to be managed by the county governments.
It is giving too many responsibilities and functions of primary health, and this is primary health, to the national government. Now, Speaker, what are we doing to ourselves? Where is the decision-making bit being done at the most, Mr. Speaker? It is at the county level. You channel data to go to the national government to make decisions that are going to be effective in the grassroots, Mr. Speaker. It defeats the purpose for which the Constitution was created, Mr. Speaker.
It's my prayer that constitutionally The national government should remain with the issue of standards and policy setting so that the counties are able to offer services.
It was further noted that despite the bill holding importance to Kenyans, a few clauses need to be amended for it to be completely beneficial.
It will be important for us as senators to ensure that we do not create another bottleneck that will hamper the already disadvantaged health sector.
Kwa hivyo tunasema kwamba mswada huu japokuwa ni mzuri lakini unahitajia marekebisho mengi sana. Yale mapendekezo ambayo yamezungumzwa hapa, Mheshimiwa Spika, yanafanya kwamba mswada huu lazima tukae chini uangaliwe kwa undani zaidi.
Looking at the bill, it requires serious amendments. And Mr. Speaker, I would say that we really need to be given time to propose these amendments before the bill is taken through.
So far, 4 health bills have been presented in Parliament, which include the Digital Healthcare Bill, the Primary Healthcare Bill, the Facility Improvement Financing Bill, and the Social Health Insurance Fund. In the Digital Healthcare Bill, if made law, the bill will ensure data governance, protection of health information, the digitizing of health services delivery, and bridging the existing legal and regulatory gaps. In the Primary Healthcare Bill, the bill establishes a framework for delivering, accessing, and managing primary healthcare. In the Facility Improvement Financing Bills, issues like expansion of health facilities, ring-fencing of money generated in facilities, and the prediction of steady funding sources for county health facilities will be handled. The Social Health Insurance Bill, which if approved will repeal NHIF, has been put in 3 categories, which include the Primary Healthcare Fund, the Social Health Insurance Fund, and the Emergency Chronic Critical Illness Fund. The 4 proposed bills, if approved, are expected to go hand in hand with President Ruto's plan of providing cheap, affordable, and accessible healthcare for Kenyans. None of the bills have been passed so far. Ruth Wanjiru for KUTV.
And Anne Adhiambo, the 16-year-old prime suspect behind the murder of the acting director of finance at the Nairobi hospital, Eric Maigo, was today arraigned in Milimani law courts. Adhiambo was yesterday arrested in Kibra in an operation by DCI detectives. The minor will remain in police custody for 21 days, awaiting police investigation on the case in which she was captured on CCTV camera on different angles within the victim's compound. Adhiambo's clothes, a red checkered shirt and a brown pair of animal print pants, were found in a wooden shack in Bombolulu village, Kibera slums. All right, we are taking a short break here on Primetime News. We still have plenty more ahead, including some updates on World Tourism Day. We're taking a break. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Nambi, I'm just saying, if you're having some doubts because the wedding is getting closer, that's okay. But you have to believe someone when they show you who they really are. Do you understand me? Be strong. Everything will be okay.
Here is to the happy couple. May the bride price make the bondage of marriage worth it.
A toast to your first wife, young man, and I'm sure she won't be the last.
Adventures across the African continent.
See breathtaking wildlife, stunning landscapes,
and out of this world technology.
Meet incredible scientists
and learn fantastic facts.
Explore, discover, be amazed.
Be part of the next generation of African change makers.
Be a part of Engine, Africa's #1 science discovery program. Yay!
We're learning every day.
Right, welcome back to Primetime News. Now, Kenya joined the rest of the world today in celebrating World Tourism Day, an event that was presided over by Tourism Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza, who assured that the Tourism Ministry is committed to supporting the development of tourism products in all counties in order to transform the lives of Kenyans and create jobs opportunities for the young people. This year's World Tourism Day theme is Tourism and Green Investment. Take a look.
Embu County was the host for this year's Tourism Day, as Kenya joined the rest of the world in celebrating World Tourism Day, a day that has been set aside to emphasize on the importance of making tourism more sustainable and environmentally friendly under the theme Tourism and Green Investment.
I am honored to stand before you on this World Tourism Day, a day that celebrates the immense impact and potential of tourism, not only in Kenya, but worldwide. This year, we gather not only to celebrate, but also to reflect on a theme of paramount importance, tourism and green investment.
According to Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza, who presided over the event, tourists coming to Embu will now pay $1 to experience what it takes to grow, tend to and harvest farm produce.
Nimesema kila aliye na farm, wakati tunalete mzungu pale, akuji kuangalia farm yako kwa bure. Kuna fee ya kuona hiyo farm. Na akiingia hapo, apewe ile kiondo, inaitwa aje? Mororo. Anabeba mororo, anachuna kofi. Na umulipi, anakulipa.
Cecile Mbarire, the Embu governor on her part, urged the Ministry of Wildlife and Tourism to support the county, especially when it comes to tourism, since it is a tourism potential that needs to be tapped into and nurtured.
We don't know what we'll do without you. And we are requesting that you continue to hold our hands because we are very young tourism baby that needs to be nurtured and fed so that we can become a truly big tourism destination in the Mount Kenya circuit.
Sis Malonza was accompanied by Cabinet Secretary Florence Bore, PS Teresia Mbaika, John Oloto, PS Tourism, PS Omir Bashir, among other senior officials from the Ministry of Tourism to celebrate this day. Masiwanjiro, KUTV.
And the government is considering to eliminate taxes on pensional withdrawal to individuals aged below 65 years, a change that is expected to take place early July next year. As this happens, food importation bill in Kenya has risen by 49.84% at the expense of government, making it easier for importation of food.
Individuals below the age of 65 years will get relief after the government put into consideration eliminating taxes that are currently imposed on individuals who withdraw money from their pension funds before they reach the official retirement age. These changes are expected to come early July next year, where the current retirees above 65 years will be required to withdraw their pension without paying taxes, and retirees aged between the age of 50 and 65 years will withdraw their pension of 600,000 and below with no tax. Withdrawing pension of the next 1.6 million will be taxed between 10% and 25% tax, while any amount above this will be taxed at 30%. According to data gathered by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, food import bill has risen high to 199.75 billion in the first 7 months of this year compared to 133.30 billion last year during the same period. This comes at a time when the government allowed the waiver of import of key food items from abroad due to impact of prolonged drought in parts of the country. And in a bid to curb illegal tea trade, the Tea Board of Kenya TBK has also moved to issue tighter guidelines and warning against factories that purchase tea from farmers who are not affiliated with processing factories, as the government is in the process of drafting legislation to reform the sector that will ensure millers, marketers and sellers are in separate entities. According to Section 21(8) of the Act provides that every tea grower should register with a tea factory to which he delivers tea leaves, further barring tea hawking, arguing that farmers are exploited by private factories. Charles Kirubi, KUTV.
And on County Wrap tonight, we begin with Busia County, where a case in which Bunyala Ward MCA Kalbenz Okonya was arrested for defiling a 14-year-old is ongoing. The court has ordered that the accused remains in custody for 9 days as trial continues. In Kilifi County, close to 135 families have been left homeless in what may look like a land dispute between neighboring communities. Cynthia Derito tells us more in the County Wrap.
Bunyala West Ward Representative Kalbenz Okonya Mapale, who was charged yesterday in the Busia courts on allegation of defiling a 14-year-old student, will remain in remand for the next 9 days to allow the Department of Witness Protection to ensure witnesses' security. Chief Magistrate Edna Nyaloti has ruled that the suspect will be released on a 2 million shilling bail, and the hearing of the case will be on the 16th of October this year.
The witnesses in protective custody is fast-tracked. The accused person will be admitted to a conditional bond of 2 million with one tranche of a similar amount, and the bond will be on the 9th of October. The OCS Bunyala to ensure that the victim and witnesses are secure until the Witness Protection Agency takes the witnesses into protective custody.
Meanwhile, women in Bungoma County are calling on the county government to help champion for maternal health and family planning products, where a section of women have reported an array of challenges they are facing when considering family planning.
Bado naweza faulu kuendelesha kulisha hawa watoto. Huyu anyonye lakini kimalisha analishwa sawa. Ndio maana afya yake iko namna jinsi alivyo.
In Kilifi County, a humanitarian crisis is looming at Majengo Kanagoni area of Magarini sub-county in Kilifi County after about 135 families were allegedly forcefully evicted from their homes 2 weeks ago. The residents are now calling on leaders led by Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungaro to intervene and resolve the land disputes that is threatening to escalate into violence.
Hakuna kotiodo yote ambao walikuja nayo. Hakuna kotioda. Kotioda iko nayo mama. Hata mimi niliuliza kwani kuna kotioda ambao mliletewa wakasema hakuna. Tumeona tu tayari tunafurushwa na kupigwa. Hapa ni kwamba baadhi ya wengine tulitoka kule sehemu za wakazi kule chini kwa Bundasaga. Kuna sehemu inaitwa Bundasaga ambao ni wawekezaji wale wa chumvi. Kwa hivyo tukaambiwa tutoke sehemu zile za kule tupande sehemu za juu.
Well-wishers taking care of the victims have appealed for food and shelter for the victims citing lack of resources. Cynthia Nderito, KUTV.
Right, and on matters sports, the East Africa's Pamoja bid by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania has won the rights to host the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. The joint candidacy beat other bids from Botswana, Egypt and Senegal following a vote by the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF, Executive Committee held in Cairo. Njamo Gikomo with more.
With the
countries.
Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania are set to host the 2027 African Cup of Nations after the East Africa Pamoja bid was accepted by the Confederation of African Football CAF Executive Committee today in an event attended by Sports Cabinet Secretary Babu Namwamba and Football Kenya Federation Chairman Nick Mwendwa in Cairo, Egypt. Morocco was announced as the host for the AFCON 2025 edition. CAF Chairman Patrice Motsepe also added that the African Football Showpiece will bring infrastructural development to the host nations, while President William Ruto has said that the Ministry of Sports led by Babu Namwamba will mobilize the resources required to upgrade and build stadiums in preparation for the football extravaganza. Kenya is set to use the Moi Sports Center Kasarani, Nyayo National Stadium, and Kipchoge Keino Stadium, while Tanzania and Uganda will use the Benjamin Mkapa and Nambole stadiums respectively. Kenya's national football team Harambee Stars will be seeking to participate in AFCON 2025, set to be played in Morocco after the World Football Governing Body FIFA lifted their 9-month ban on Kenyan football. Harambee Stars, under head coach Engin Firat, have played 2 friendly matches, recently winning 2-1 against 2022 World Cup hosts Qatar, then losing 1-0 to South Sudan in Nairobi. Njama Gikomo for KUTV Sports.
Right, indeed a great story there, and it is indeed a pride of Kenya. And in about 15 minutes time, we will be having the AFL Cup, that is the round 3. Chelsea is going to beat Brighton and Hove Albion, and Arsenal is going to be beaten by Brentford. In about 15 minutes time, that is round 3 of the AFL Cup. Thank you so much for making time for us here on Primetime News, here on KUTV. Thank you for being a part of the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter has been Mutava Mungeli. My name is Joseph Kess, on behalf of the rest of the team that has been instrumental in the success of this broadcast, led by my producer Arno Dida and director Dominic Cheriot. Thank you so much. Until we see each other next time, have a good night.